After postponing my graduation ceremony to attend my girlfriend's art exhibit, I walked in to find her introducing another man as the reason she made it. When I pulled her aside, she rolled her eyes and said, "You were just a stepping stone." I quietly left, then enrolled in grad school abroad, blocking her number forever while she watched me succeed from across the ocean. I was supposed to walk the stage that weekend. I'd earned it. 4 years of grinding. Early mornings. Double shifts at the library and the dining hall. Late nights in the computer lab writing code until my eyes burned. I wasn't the smartest in my class, but no one outworked me. I wanted that moment, to shake the dean's hand, hear my name called, wear that dumb cap, and see my parents smile from the front row. But I didn't go. Because Layla asked me to be at her first art show in Chicago. It was her first solo exhibit at a real gallery, and she acted like her whole future depended on how it went. She was nervous, pacing around our apartment the week before, talking in circles about how no one would show up or that she'd embarrass herself. "I just need you there," she said. "Please, Dylan. I don't care if it's a crowd of strangers. If you're there, I'll feel like I can breathe." And I said yes. Because that's what you do when someone you love asks for something big. I told my parents I'd make it up to them. They were hurt, but they understood. I booked a last-minute bus to Chicago and tried to tell myself that missing graduation wasn't the end of the world. I was doing it for her. I arrived late in the afternoon. The gallery was already packed. People stood shoulder to shoulder, sipping wine and murmuring in that fake deep way people do around art. Her work was all over the walls, huge canvases, wild paint splashes, the kind of stuff I never really understood, but I supported anyway. And then I saw her. Layla stood near the back, wearing the black dress I'd told her made her look like fire. Her hair was up, earrings sparkling, smiling wide at a small group of people gathered around her. But she wasn't alone. Standing next to her was this guy, tall, probably 35, smooth suit, too clean smile. He had his hand on her lower back. I froze. Thought maybe he was a cousin or a friend. Then I heard her say, "This man is the reason I made it." His belief in me changed everything. Everyone clapped. Someone toasted to her future. She leaned into him like they'd known each other forever. I waited for her to mention me. Anything. Just a little nod in my direction. I'd been there through every breakdown, every failed piece, every panic attack at 3 a.m. I held her when she cried over gallery rejections, scraped together money for her paints, skipped out on weekends with friends to proofread her bios and write her artist statements. But she didn't say a word about me. I walked up to her when the group started drifting away. She saw me and smiled like I was some distant friend she hadn't seen since high school. "Hey," she said, way too casual. "Can we talk?" I asked. She glanced back at the crowd. "Now?" "Yeah. Just a minute." She followed me over near the side wall where no one else was standing. She didn't look worried or guilty. She looked annoyed. I asked her, "Who is that guy?" She laughed a little. "He reps the gallery. Help me get this show." "You said he's the reason you made it." "Because he is," she said, like it was obvious. "He actually got my work in here. He actually believes in what I'm doing." I was stunned. "What does that make me?" She sighed and rolled her eyes. Like I was asking something dumb. "Dylan, you were a stepping stone. You helped me through school, yeah, but this is my life now." She said it like I should understand. Like I should pat her on the back and thank her for the privilege of being used. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there, staring at her. And then I left. I didn't go back to the bus station. I walked around the city for hours, not feeling my feet, just watching everything blur by like static. I didn't text her. Didn't answer when she called that night. I blocked her number before I got on the train home. I skipped the makeup graduation my department offered. I didn't want the fake stage walk. I deleted every picture we had together. I didn't tell anyone what happened, not at first. I just disappeared from her world. Then I got to work. I'd always talked about grad school. I wanted to study computer science deeper. Maybe go into AI or robotics. But I kept putting it off because I didn't want to leave Layla. She said it would be too much distance. She said Europe would change me, and not in a good way. Said I'd lose myself in all that code and come back cold. So I stayed. For her. For nothing. That week, I applied to 4 international grad schools. I told no one. Didn't even mention it to my parents until the acceptance letters came in. The Netherlands said yes. Fully funded. 2-year masters in AI and machine learning. I took the offer. I left the country that fall. I landed in a city where I didn't know a single person. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I studied harder than I ever had. I stopped waiting for validation. I stopped thinking about who I needed to become for someone else and just focused on who I was when no one was watching. Meanwhile, Layla stayed back home. I didn't check her pages, but sometimes mutuals would mention her. She had another show. Then she didn't. She had some drama with another artist. She dated around. Nothing lasted. One day, I got an email. Just one line, "Congrats on everything. You look like you're doing great." I deleted it. About 6 months into my program in the Netherlands, I started feeling normal again. I was waking up without thinking about her. I didn't flinch every time I saw a painting or walked past an art supply store. I was finally sleeping through the night. I spent most of my time either in class or working at a research lab on campus. The professors liked me. I wasn't the smartest guy in the room, but I showed up early, stayed late, and never made excuses. My advisor said I had something most students didn't: focus. I started working on a side project with a team from Germany. We were building an algorithm that could recognize early signs of mental health issues through speech patterns. It was personal for me. Layla used to fall apart and say she felt invisible, and I'd never know how to help. I used to think loving her was enough. Now I knew better. Some things require more than love, they require action, data, support. Anyway, we built a beta. Got some attention from a health tech startup based in Berlin. They flew us out to present it. I wore the only suit I owned. Shaky hands. Fast heartbeat. But we crushed it. They offered me a paid internship on the spot. It wasn't much, but it was something. 2 months later, I had a LinkedIn post go semi-viral. Just a picture of me standing in front of the company building, holding up my access badge. From Wisconsin to Berlin, first-generation grad student chasing what's next. Thousands of likes. A few hundred comments. And then I saw her name. Layla had commented. "Proud of you. I always knew you'd do big things." No one else would have thought anything of it. Just a sweet comment from someone I used to know. But it felt like a slap. I didn't reply. But I made the mistake of clicking her profile. She was still in Chicago. Still painting. But the tone had changed. Her caption sounded more bitter. Hard to stay inspired when the world doesn't value you. Selling your soul to keep the lights on. That kind of thing. One post was a black and white photo of her in the old gallery. The caption: "This was before everything changed. Before people used me and left." I closed the tab and went for a walk. I told myself I didn't care. I told myself I had moved on. But then a week later, I got a DM from one of our old mutual friends. Gabe. Chill guy. We used to double date with him and his girlfriend back in Madison. He sent me a message, "Hey. Random, but Layla's been asking around about you. Says she might fly out to Europe soon. You two talking again?" I didn't answer for a few days. Then I just replied, "No. We're not." But it stuck with me. Why now? I hadn't spoken to her in nearly 2 years. She ignored me when I gave everything. Rolled her eyes when I asked a simple question. Made me feel small in front of a room full of strangers. And now she wanted to visit? I didn't trust it. Then it got weirder. She emailed again. A longer one this time. Said she missed me. Said she'd been doing a lot of thinking. Said I was the only person who ever truly saw her. She asked if we could talk. Just one coffee. Just to catch up. I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe I'd just ignore it again. But a part of me wanted to know what she wanted. So I replied. One sentence. I don't think that's a good idea. She didn't take the hint. The next message was longer. She admitted she'd been going through a rough time. Said the gallery guy, the one she introduced as the reason she made it, turned out to be a creep. Said he promised her a contract, but he was really just stringing her along. Everything fell apart after that night, she wrote. I made a mistake. I see that now. I didn't feel bad for her. Not exactly. But I started to feel something. Like unfinished business. I didn't tell anyone. Not my new friends. Not my advisor. Not even Gabe. But I started saving her messages. Every single one. Just in case. The messages didn't stop. She sent another one a week later. This time, it was different. She attached a PDF. A grant application for an international art residency, one based in Amsterdam, just 2 hours from where I was living. Thought of you when I saw this, she wrote. It's been a dream of mine for years. Maybe if I get in, we could meet. No pressure. Just dinner. Or even just a walk. At first, I thought she was joking. But she wasn't. Layla was actually applying for a program across the ocean, right in my backyard. And from the tone of her message, she thought I'd be flattered. I didn't reply. But I looked up the residency. It was legit. Small, selective, 6-month programs for international artists. Room, board, and studio space included. Sponsored by a few wealthy donors and a European cultural fund. It was exactly the kind of opportunity she used to say she'd never get, because she wasn't the right type of artist. Apparently, she changed her mind. A few weeks passed. I figured she hadn't gotten in. Then one of my Dutch classmates tagged me in a story. At Layla.b.art just landed in Amsterdam. She got in. I felt my stomach twist. I didn't know if I was angry or just anxious. But it hit me hard. She messaged me the same day. I'm here. Would still love to see you. Just once. I didn't respond. But I didn't block her either. I wish I had. Because a week later, she showed up. Outside my lab. She just stood there, wearing a beige coat, holding a coffee cup, acting like this was some spontaneous movie moment. I was walking out with my coworker Mia when I saw her. I froze. Mia looked confused. Dylan? Layla said. Like we'd just bumped into each other in a grocery store back home. I didn't say anything. Mia turned to me. You okay? I'm fine, I said, then to Layla, what are you doing here? I just wanted to see you. In person. I thought maybe we could talk, No, I said. We're not doing this. She blinked, like she didn't expect that. You don't even want to hear what I have to say. I already did. 2 years ago. Loud and clear. People were walking by. Mia gave me a little nod, then went back inside to give us space. I didn't want space. Layla stepped closer. I messed up. I know that. But I didn't come all this way just to be ignored. You didn't come here for me, I said. You came here because you lost everything over there. The gallery dropped you. The guy used you. And now you think you can fall back on me. That's not fair. No, I said. What's not fair is missing my graduation for someone who turned around and erased me from her life the second she didn't need me anymore. She looked down. I was scared. I thought I had to let go of everything to move forward. I was wrong. You weren't scared, I said. You were selfish. Her mouth opened, then closed again. She didn't have a comeback. Just stood there, holding that coffee like it was all she had left. Then she said something I didn't expect. I've been going to therapy. Trying to understand why I hurt people who care about me. I laughed. I didn't mean to, but it came out sharp. You think therapy fixes what you did? I don't expect forgiveness. I just want to be honest. You want honesty? I stepped closer. I stopped thinking about you every day. I stopped hating you. And for a while, I even hoped you were doing okay. But then you came back. Not to make things right, but to make things easy for yourself again. Tears welled in her eyes. I felt nothing. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small envelope. This is for you. I wrote everything down. You don't have to read it. I just needed to leave it with you. I didn't take it. She held it out for a few seconds. Then laid it gently on the bench beside me and walked away without another word. I didn't move. Not for a long time. When I finally sat down, I picked up the envelope. My name was written on it in her handwriting. I didn't open it. Not yet. I slid it into my backpack and went back inside. I didn't open her letter that day. In fact, I didn't open it for weeks. I kept it tucked in the back of my desk drawer. Every now and then, I'd look at it, thinking maybe I'd read it when I was ready. But I was never ready. Not until the day I got the offer letter. I was about to finish grad school. My team's research had picked up serious attention in Europe, and 2 major companies offered me positions, one in Berlin, one in Amsterdam. Both 6-figure starting salaries. Both came with equity, housing help, and leadership tracks. I chose Amsterdam. The irony didn't hit me until after I signed the contract. Layla was still in her residency here. 6 months, probably 2 left by now. We hadn't spoken since the day she left the envelope. That night, I finally opened it. It was 6 pages, handwritten. The first half was her justifying herself. The pressure she was under. The fear of failure. The manipulation by the gallery rep blaming the industry. The usual. But the second half shifted. She admitted everything. Said she knew I gave up my graduation for her and didn't care. Said that stepping stone comment was something she practiced in the mirror because she thought it sounded powerful. She wrote, I was trying to act like I'd already made it, because deep down I didn't think I ever would. She ended it by asking for one more chance. Not to be together, but to be forgiven. I folded the letter back up, slid it into a plastic folder, and went to bed. I didn't respond. A month into my new job, I was invited to an art showcase through a friend at the office. Tech companies like to look cultured, so we sponsored creative events. I didn't even think twice when I RSVP'd. Just another networking night. But the second I walked into the gallery, I saw her. Layla. Standing by one of her pieces, talking to a small group. She hadn't seen me yet. She looked tired. Her smile was thinner. The dress she wore didn't fit the way it used to. I stood in the back, arms crossed, just watching. She saw me about 10 minutes later. Her eyes froze. She looked like someone had just told her the power was out in the whole city. I didn't walk over. I just watched her squirm. She left the group and made her way to me. She stopped a few feet away. "Hi," she said. I nodded. "Didn't know you were still showing here. This is my last exhibit in the program. It's been a hard few months." I raised an eyebrow. "Burned another bridge?" She flinched. I didn't feel bad. Then came the moment she always circled back to. "Can we talk?" I sighed. "Actually, yeah. I've got something to say." Her eyes lit up, like she thought I was about to tell her I still had feelings. "I read your letter," I said. "I believe you meant most of it. But I also think you came here because your world back home shrank. And you thought maybe mine could hold space for you." "I was wrong," she said quickly. "No," I cut in. "You were right about one thing. I was a stepping stone. But you didn't trip over me. You used me to climb up, and then you spat down." Her mouth opened, then closed again. I pulled out a flash drive from my coat pocket and handed it to her. "What is this?" she asked. "A gift." She looked confused. I walked away before she could ask more. What I gave her was something she didn't see coming. Over the last few weeks, I'd compiled every single message she'd sent me since she got to Europe. All the emails, DMs, and even a couple of voicemails where she hinted at her past gallery rep's misconduct and her involvement in covering it up. I found forums where other artists whispered about the guy, afraid to speak publicly. Layla never defended him. She just stayed quiet, even after he ruined careers. What I also found, thanks to an old friend in Chicago, was a copy of a private email chain between Layla and the gallery manager. Back when she was still in the States, she'd mocked younger female artists behind their backs, calling them hobby painters, and suggesting they'd sleep their way in like she could have, but didn't need to. She used people. She trashed them. And she buried it under fake therapy quotes and growth captions. I sent that whole package, messages, emails, forums, testimony, to the residency's leadership committee anonymously. With proof. With citations. And I knew the one thing that mattered most to Layla, her name in the art world. The fallout was quiet at first. Just whispers. Her final exhibit was postponed. Her name disappeared from the program's website. Her Instagram turned off comments. Then her account went private. A month later, I got an email from the committee thanking me for the documentation. They couldn't share everything due to privacy rules, but confirmed she was no longer affiliated with the residency and had violated code of conduct policies. They also said they were reviewing past participants' conduct under new guidelines. She was done. Not because I screamed. Not because I wanted her hurt. But because I wanted her seen, finally, for exactly who she was. As for me, I'm still in Amsterdam. Still working. I've spoken at 3 conferences since then. I don't look over my shoulder anymore. People say revenge is a waste of time. But sometimes, it's not about getting even. Sometimes it's about making sure people like her can't use others the way they used you. She called me a stepping stone. So I became a wall she couldn't climb, no matter how hard she tried. And now, I keep moving forward. With no one riding on my back.